Well, hi, I'm Durk Dehner, and we're here at the Tom House, and we're with our artist in resident here, which is Bas Kosters,
Yes.
and Bas is from the Netherlands, and so I don't have to say welcome because you've already had your welcome. This is our farewell, and so we want to just do a little capsule of your experiences here and things that went on, so that we can put that up and have that as a document on your experience in Los Angeles and at the Tom House. So first question is, how did you end up finding out about us?
Well, erotic art or nude drawing has always been an interest, and it's something I touch in my work. And actually, a lot of my work has penises, small penises, big penises, because I make dolls and characters and soft sculptures. So this sensuality is always a part of it. And when I decided that I wanted to do I wanted to take some time to develop this part of my work further, and I started searching for artist in residence space for queer art, and I was looking in San Francisco because I thought it is a
Natural.
important place in gay history. So I have looked if I could find something, which I didn't, but somehow through social media and some artists that I follow, I stumbled across the foundation. And of course, the work of Tom is kind of one of the most inevitable things that you will come across when you start as a teenager, start exploring your interest in gay culture. It's inevitable that you will meet the work of Tom. And so that's how I came about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Rather independent, rather soul searching on your own and coming upon us, which is different than most people. Most people, it's through they're sharing it with another, and that's how most of our applicants find out. So we're surrounded here by these men.
Yeah.
And they're in all shapes and sizes, and is there something that do you call them something? Are they do they all have sort of different, depending on when you've created them? Do they have different sort of category names or?
Well, the way that I was drawing this period was quite all over the place. I've tried very many different things, very many different approaches to portraying masculinity, sexuality. So this is a drawing from a series that's called Pink Boys. And they're rather anonymous because they have numbers, and the numbers reference to numbers of the research pages that are used from the archive here. Some of these men or creatures are to me completely unknown yet. So sometimes it takes time to
They may
give them,
blossom.
yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes it takes time to give them a name. And sometimes a name is also not that
Necessary.
important.
No, absolutely. And you did a rather abundant amount of work during, which I sort of got from you that's pretty much par for the course with you.
Mhm.
And then when you delve into something, you tend to produce or create a mass of material that comes out of that.
When people ask me to describe my work, I always use terms like abundance, enthusiasm, energy. So these are all words I would use to describe what I do. So it can be used in context to fashion or textile or drawing. It's actually funny that I chose to keep it quite relaxed here. So I didn't want to go over my head in my energy. So this is the outcome of a relaxed period.
And so, reflecting back several months ago, I remember you coming to me or chatting with me about being unsure about whether you were on track or not, in that you were doing this exploration and just letting yourself, explore, and yet it was quite unnerving for you. Was not exactly the most comfortable experience that you ever had. But now, stepping back from where that was, how do you see the whole thing? Do you see that it did naturally take its course and come together? How do you see it?
Well, when I started kind of rounding up the period and started selecting through all the drawings of what I liked and what I think was presentable, I actually chose to display quite a lot of what I made. And I think in essence that's the most valuable thing that I could take out of this period, because I always know quite well where I'm going with the work, and it sometimes leaves it takes out the time for contemplation. And actually, of course, this is also what I wanted. I wanted to not be only working with my team. I wanted to be on my own and see how I could function as a autonomous artist without my studio team, to be in a very different mindset. So I am very glad that it all came together, but I'm also glad that I was in this period of uncertainty.
Which you shared with me that coming here was a planned break in your scheduling so that you could actually have that time to sort of evaluate where you wanted to go next, and what would be after the Tom House experience, what would be next. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is fascinating. I mean, after winning that or receiving that big stipend last year in Holland, and getting the opportunity to take a step back and really delve into taking time to develop my artistic points of view, which is just so amazing to be able to do that. So I'm really thankful to have gotten this chance to experience a whole new way of working.
I find it interesting that you and Jared, who's another artist in residence here, that both of you have selected words within your works that deal with tenderness and softness and these kinds of things, which both of you, just naturally independent of each other, were coming up with this kind of terminologies that you seem to feel were needed and wanted.
For me, I try to counterpart the energy of my work, which is sometimes also, the aesthetic is sometimes a bit provocative or vulgar in a different way than other erotic art maybe. I wanted to counterpart that with a title that really shows my intention of why I do things. And a lot of times, like for example, I made drawings about inclusivity, I made drawings about that we should open our gay culture and dating culture because it's excluding people that just fall out of the kind of boxes that are created.
Yeah.
So I really try to liberate and spread conscience about what we can mean to one another in our lives, the space that we can create for each other. And that is also what I just found so fascinating when I started to learn more about the work of Tom and what is behind the very well-known visual, the very important role that it played. So with my title about softness, I really try to bring across my intention of what I want to bring to this world.
Wonderful, wonderful. How? Let's just circle around coming to the Tom House and your experience of living in this environment. And first of all, was it what you expected? And second of all, how was it? You know.
So landing here in this house was really special, but it was not always easy for me personally because sometimes being with new people can be very confronting on how you are yourself and how you move in groups or circles. It was very hard anyway to have expectations because it is so you can't grasp how the experience will be. So in the end, when I look back at it, I think it has been truly heartwarming because I got to know everybody that is here in such a personal way, and you really see everything about a person. It's not like you have a meeting, you say, hi, I'm this and that, you show your best, and then you continue. It's very personal to be here, almost transcendental for me. I think next to getting to know everybody here, I I think I got to know myself also in a different way, which is really fascinating.
So, in regards to going forward from here, can you share any sort of envisioned or plan that you have that you're going to take what you've gotten here? How is it going to? I mean, you may not even know. I'm just generalizing and saying, what's in your future plans?
Where I stand now with my work and where I want to go is quite unclear because for the first time in around 13 years I don't know where I'm gonna end up. I'm moving studio and in 2 weeks I will know where I will be landing. So that's a really like a fresh new start, which closes off a very insecure period of a half year of not knowing what my next destination was. I really feel in myself that I wanna make work that's even more exciting and iconic than the things I've done or this past year. I do feel that fashion is kind of pulling on my tail, so I feel the need to do something with fashion, but also want to keep on drawing, and I want to also try to master some techniques that I don't already use, like ceramics, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to kind of take the coming year and maybe reschedule kind of the way that my company is built and start making some small fashion projects. And maybe even travel more because it made me hungry for more, and I hope to come back to Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm. So in regards to your reception of your creation, uh, uh, in that the Tom House is not a gallery. It's not a commercial gallery, and and we really don't uh, function extremely well as that. Our purpose is to give a place to showcase and for people to actually come and visit and experience. And if there's an interchange of commerce, then that's all good. And so I guess I was just curious. You were here, and you're leaving in the middle of your exhibition, so it'll be up for a few weeks. And and you also twofold. That's the question, and also you were here for a lot of different events. I think more than I think any other artist that has, and very a broad variety of events. And so I guess the first question is, how was your reception of your work in your experience?
So I think this was the best time ever to be here and to stay at the Tom House, because so many interesting things have been going on, which showed me such a rich vision of how the foundation works, but also the importance of what it does. And as far as the presentation of my work, I think it looks very inspiring in this space, because it's so, in a sense, visually so different from what goes on here normally, which I think is very interesting, how that comes together. And I realized already quite soon when we got here that although the visual component of what I do, it might be so different, in the intention it is very much the same.
Yeah.
And that is what I find very fascinating. I use a different language, but I might tell a similar story.
Yeah.
And that for me was very interesting to get to know. And for me as an artist, I am not in this to be commercial. The only reason why I strive to make successful presentations is because I want to have my work do what it needs to do. It needs to reach people, it needs to make them think, it needs to bring them joy. So it's never an economic goal, but of course when your work is sold, when it's leaving your show, when it's getting out in the world, it's doing what it needs to do. And I'm actually very, very satisfied with the outcome of the show on very many different levels, because it became much more than what I thought it would be, in a sense of the volume of work and how it found its place in the house. But also I think the reach of the work has been fantastic. We had beautiful publicity surrounding the exhibition, which I think is, for my work and for the foundation, very good. So the outcome for me has been very satisfactory.
So have you got any advice that you can give to us for us to improve what we do, and also for artists that have not yet come here that are coming here for a residency? Do you have any sort of anything you can share about your point of view on that, or your experience?
My advice to a future artist in residence would be to engage and be open, but also take your time to dwell around, be frank to say what you need, be ask what you want, take the freedom to look around. I think that's important because the house is also, it's very overwhelming. And so that would be my
Yeah,
advice for
okay.
the future
Yeah.
artists in residence.
And as far as our operation of the program and that, um, um, is there something that we can do to improve it, in your point of view?
I think in a sense you could make more use of the artists in residence that are coming here.
And in what way? Like, give me an idea, example.
I mean, sometimes the artists in residence can be quite prolific and can reach big audiences.
Yes.
So I think it's a good idea not to only think about facilitating with knowledge and space, but also to actively seek partnerships and see what you can do to reach your bigger audiences. I think we did a very nice collaboration where from both sides publicity came in, and but I think it's very good to see if you can really connect with new target audiences.
Yes. You know, it's you bring up a very valid point, and that what we have tended to not do is we don't want to put any kind of pressure on the artists when they come here. We want them to be able to be totally focused on whatever they're creating. But you bring up a very important point, and that is that this foundation operates on a very small budget, and that we can use as much help as possible in promoting what we do, our programs, and of course the artists that are here now. So I hear it, that we can reach out and invite them to really sort of partner with us in the bigger picture of it all.
Yeah, for example, you could ask everybody to design one shop product, a t-shirt or a print. You could actively engage them in fundraisers. You could sit down with every artist in residence to make this discussion of how they can benefit the foundation or their professional vision.
Right.
This could be a allocated moment in the residency to exchange knowledge, because that is
idea.
very important.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. You actually took full advantage of the opportunity. I just want to say this, of bicycling, of going, finding a gym, of creating a routine for yourself, and that so that really sort of got you into being part of living here.
Mm-hmm.
And
the thing is, I am a creature of habit, and I know quite well, also being a sober person, I know quite well what I need to function on my best way. Because coming here, actually I've never traveled so long in my life. My longest travel before this year was a 3.5 week holiday, which is a totally different mindset. So this traveling for me has been a very big thing, a very big leap out of what I do normally, and it has been very rewarding and sometimes also a bit distressing.
Yeah.
And what I need is to have some anchor points. This is what I'm doing, this is what I need to function, and yeah, I think that has proven for me to be very important. But what I want to say is that I have felt very, very embraced, and that is very special, and I think that is, for me, one of the biggest beauties and rewards of this beautiful period is seeing the passion and the intention that you do work together to make this possible. I think that is just fascinating and so beautiful. So I want to thank you for that.
My pleasure. Thank you.